In this example, we'll talk about editing again, this time revisiting it, showing some of the additional editing capabilities that we can do if instead of using the DST format or another expanded file, we can use the program's native format, CHE. In our example, what we had opened before, which is designed to edit, was a file called LogoWare in DST format. And as you recall, we had to set the colors up correctly, and but it allowed us still to do edit color changes, change the size, density, and some other edits that we can do. That's something we can also do if we edit instead the CHE version. So logoware.dst in the first example is for typical examples where you ask to have a design digitized, or you've imported a stock design and it's not quite the size that you needed, or you need to make some minor changes. However, for designs that you create yourself, they'll be saved. You'll save it in the CHE format. In this case, LogoWare was created in Stitch and Sew, so we did save it in a CHE format as well as made a DST copy. So now let's look at the original digitized file and see some of the additional options that we can do with this. For example, whenever stitches are created in Stitch and Sew, in this case we'll replicate the word logo here and have that created. You'll notice that it always starts out just like you've seen in the digitizing demo in an outline format, and then we simply pick a color and hit stitch it to apply the stitches to that outline. And what happens is, even though you don't see that outline anymore, Stitch and Sew keeps that outline. We'll delete this copy and then work on the original, and you can see that that outline is still there. Going to the editing tools and highlight this, for example, this L, you can see the outline is there, and not only can you see it, but you can also edit that, play with the shape. For example, if you have some text that your customer likes, however, it's not quite matching up with the particular font that you've got, but it's close, you can edit the shape. And as you edit the shape, Stitch and Sew recreates the stitches based on the edits to the shape that you do. So for example, we're editing the look of this L to make it possibly a bolder capital letter. And again, just by playing around with it and editing some of those shape characteristics and hitting stitch it, the program rebuilds the stitches based to our new shape. We can, for example, change round objects to square by holding down, just like we built in digitizing, changing the round shape controls, the shape points, from curved to corner, or we can even do the opposite, is take corner points and change them to curve. Like in this L down here, I'll click on this corner, and where this is a hard corner, we can change that to a curve. And again, this lets us easily change the look, not only of any fonts or letters that are created, but also just about anything that is any shape that's been built in Stitch and Sew in that CHE format. Other things that we can do also is you'll notice there's a button called Edit Text. It rebuilds that back in outline format in case we want to go back to the original, and at this point we could actually change the font if we wanted to, and also possibly the size or any other major characteristics. Maybe if your customer has seen your digitizing and maybe wants a different look, like for example, if they request it to be up on an arc, you can do a lot of changes to something that you've already digitized without going through a lot of trouble and have to rebuild from scratch. And in this case, I'll hit stitch it to apply my changes. Not only does it make those changes appropriate, but it also keeps everything in sequence. Additional changes, not just the text, but let's say, for example, we want a lighter fill stitch, or we want to change the pattern of the fill stitch. As you can see in realistic view, this is kind of the look we have right now, but if we want to change that to something else, we can click on that fill stitch, and then click on editing and open up our embroidery settings, and we can play around with any characteristics in the roll-up dialog box. For example, we can add pull compensation, change the underlay, or if we wanted to, we can change the angle of the stitch, even put a gradient, maybe even change the pattern of the fill stitch. As you can see, there's different types of patterns that are available. Anything that's any of those various stitch types available, we can simply apply and have that look immediately transferred into our design. Also, another major characteristic, let's say you want to add a little pizzazz to this logo and add maybe a border, make that logo edge punch out. We're editing the fill stitch. I can check satin stitch outline or running stitch outline, choose a color, for example, and choose the width of that satin stitch outline. This is 2 millimeters. In this case, we'll make it a little wider at 3, or 30/10 of a millimeter is what that's measured in. Hit apply, and you'll see the border appear on the edges. And probably the most impressive thing that you can do is, and a very practical thing for embroiderers who are looking to save time and money and reduce costs so that you can make the most available to your customer, is typically your customer may be ordering something for, let's say, a piqué knit golf shirt, but going into maybe colder weather, you may want to sell them the same design but to output on, let's say, for example, fleece jackets. Well, as you may know, or as you will learn in your quest for knowledge about the way embroidery works, you can't take the same file and then have it expect to sew on a golf shirt and then put it on a completely different type of fabric. Often you have to redigitize the design, which takes a lot of effort and then possibly additional money, your time. However, Stitch and Sew makes this very easy. By opening up the CHE file, you can actually go to Design and then Apply Fabric, and pick a particular file or type of file profile matching to a type of a garment that you're looking for. For example, possibly a heavy canvas jacket, or if you're looking for fleece, maybe a polar fleece sweatshirt. Click OK, and you can see that the stitches are at 7615 right now, and what it's doing is recalculating, and we've added almost 50% more stitches, more than 50% more stitches, to help beef that up for the type of stitching that's required on polar fleece jackets, for example. So we're with the editing tools, and if you have your CHE file or anything that you build in Stitch and Sew, you're able to make major edits and increase your flexibility a great deal just by using the sophisticated editing tools in Stitch and Sew.